donuts right now. So let's go ahead and look at that first $9 that we had, okay? When we had that first $9, we wanted to find that point of optimum where marginal revenue is exactly equal to marginal cost. Well, that's going to occur when these two columns are equal to each other, and that's somewhere between a marginal cost of $8.33 and $14. So they're both at 9 right in here. So if I scooch across here, that means that the optimum is using between 11 and 13 workers, which allows me to produce between 96 and 103 cakes, okay? My selling price is $9 at that point. So my question on how much I'm making, if I'm making any profit or not, the way I figure that out is I say, okay, I've decided that I want to produce between 96 and 103 cakes because that's going to be my optimum point. It makes me the most profit. How much profit it is, I compare my average total cost at that output level to what I'm selling the cakes for. So if I choose to produce somewhere in between here, 96 and 103 cakes, let's just average it out and say we're going to make 100 cakes. When we make 100 cakes, it costs us about between $7.81 and $8.25. That's a little over $8 a cake. It's about $8.03 to be real precise, okay? So to make 100 cakes, it's going to cost me about $8 per cake, but I'm selling them for $9, okay? So if that's the case, yeah, I'm making profit. $9 selling price minus the $8 cost to cover all my costs, I'm making about $1 a cake. That's a pretty good deal. If I'm making money, my decision is really clear. If I make profit, I go ahead and produce that output. So if that's the case, then we're going to look at a couple of different selling prices. If our selling price is up here like this, and we have a selling price, I'm going to call it marginal revenue 1, where we're clearly above our average total cost, then you know what? We're making money. That's a good thing. We're making profit. We want to continue to produce, and let's just keep on making cakes. We're in good shape. The problem is that sometimes the cost or the revenue doesn't stay the same. Sometimes our selling prices adjust. Now, maybe not so much in cakes, but if I was in the corn market, I can't do anything to change the price of corn. The corn price is going to adjust with the market. Therefore, it might decrease, and I may have to see and determine whether or not I'm able to make any profit any longer. Consequently, let's say the second choice that I gave you is I gave you a selling price that dropped to $7 on these cakes. So let's drop our selling price to $7. No longer is my marginal revenue $9. Now my marginal revenue is $7. No matter how many cakes I produce, I'm going to make $7 for every additional cake I get. Well, that's probably still okay, but are we making profit or not? Let's decide. So here's the question. What I want to figure out is where is the optimum at, and I find that when marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. So marginal revenue equals marginal cost when marginal cost is somewhere between 6 1/4 and 8.33. So I'm going to find that here between 84 and 96 cakes, okay? So I'm going to want to produce in that area. Let's just say 90 cakes to keep it simple. We'll kind of split the middle a little bit. It's about 90 cakes. And so I'm going to produce about 90 cakes now if the selling price has dropped to 7. So that makes sense. It got, the revenue I can make is lower. I probably don't want to spend as much, so I probably want to produce less cakes. And that's a logical decision to make. So we find that we want to produce at this level. So what we do is we go compare that to our total costs. Well, when we do that, we see that our average total cost is about $7.77. That's just finding the difference between here. They're kind of the middle point between these 2 points. Here's my average total cost to produce those. So if it costs me $7.77 to produce them, to cover all costs, but I'm only selling them for $7, I am not making profit. In fact, I'm losing 77 cents per cake. So at a loss, my decision is, do I keep producing, or do I go ahead and just shut down my cake production, and maybe right now I don't produce cakes? Well, the way we decide that is we see, okay, what about, can we at least cover the variable costs? In other words, can we pay our workers? Even if we can't cover all the rest of our costs, can we pay our workers? Well, here's our variable costs, okay? So So our variable costs are around $550-ish, okay? And yeah, I can easily cover that. I'm covering all the costs on the workers because the variable costs per worker are about $550, and I'm selling my cakes for $7. So not only can I cover the cost of the workers, I can also cover most of the rest of my costs, just not all of them. So that's like being in the middle ground. That's like being right here, and we call that marginal revenue 2 right here. It's kind of being in the middle. And when we're in the middle, what we choose to do is, as long as we can still cover the variable costs, even if we're not making profit, we continue to produce to minimize our losses, okay? If we shut down production, we're gonna pay our fixed costs anyway. Remember that field that sat there, we didn't produce on it? We pay a bunch of costs even if we don't grow anything on it. So we have to remember that if we can produce, as long as we can cover the variable costs, we continue production, because that minimizes the loss that we're going to take. So we continue that at this middle ground, we're okay. But in your third option for price went all the way to